foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Pakadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Green Mission that rule well. And I'd like to say peace and salutations to the elect of the nation of Israel. To you all say Shalom. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying to the God of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. And first and foremost, of course, all praise due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. But I'd like to say that Salaki, I wasn't out here on Sunday. Again, shit in my life is fucked up, but I see the end. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. So it's all good, Hey, Scripture says to rejoice and be happy when temptations come unto you, man. When you're going through bad times and tribulations, you should be happy. But now the Lord has a chance to shine. You have a chance to depend on the Lord. The Lord has a chance to deliver. The Lord has a chance to shine. The Lord always deserves credit. The Lord has a chance to show off his credit worthiness, man. The Lord has a chance to show off the Lord has a chance to flex, right? The Lord is an almighty power. So him flexing, he can't flex too hard because everything will be destroyed, right? So he has to do almost, to him, it's subtle flexes. But to us, they're marvelous. They're miracles, man. Like even the day of the Lord, even the return of Yahweh Shai, that's a subtle flex. But to us, it's going to be a marvelous day, man. And with all that's going on in the world, we're again one day closer to the return of Yahweh Shai. And I want to speak on the whole controversy that's going on in Venezuela over what had happened, which in a way I believe it's a psyop. I don't believe anything when it's on the mainstream news. I take it with a grain of salt. There's always, they don't tell you the full story or the truth about the story. Right, so they're saying that the U.S. did operations or performed special operations in Venezuela, attacked the capital, which is Caracas, and so-called kidnapped or abducted the president and his wife, and brought them to New York and charged them with narco-terrorism. Which I don't believe, in a sense, I don't believe because, all right, if you accuse somebody of narco-terrorism, if you accuse somebody of selling drugs, you also have to arrest the people that are being sold, or buying the drugs that are being sold, right? So if you arrest Maduro, you also have to arrest the people that are buying drugs from him. And Babylon ain't gonna arrest their own agents because it's the CIA pushing the drugs in the communities, man, up through our society, And also, if you're gonna make an arrest, you ain't gonna arrest the man and his wife. Like, why would you abduct the wife as well? Like in Babylon, all politics it's division, it's all psyops, they're all on the same team. But a couple of years back, they were talking about how so-called President Trump is being indicted, going to be impeached, this, that, and the other, right? Being charged or being convicted, not convicted, being charged but not convicted, being charged with felonies. But they never talk about charging his wife, right? If another nation came into Babylon and abducted so-called President Trump, they're gonna abduct Melania too, right? So why would they abduct the wife? My thing is, I believe, because even if it's not Babylon, all politics are a scam. So I believe that, me speaking as a man, I believe that Maduro is part of the plan, part of the basically the one New World Order plan, and made a deal with Babylon, and the deal included taking him and his wife out of Venezuela so the U.S. can now install a puppet regime and acquire their oil. And when you read the scriptures, when you read the prophecy of Asher, which are so-called Venezuelans, they're Asherites. It talks about how their foot's going to be dipped in oil and how they have the most oil reserves in the world, man. Or at least in the Western, no, it's in the world because they have more oil reserves than Saudi Arabia as well. Right? So he probably made a deal and sold some people out, if he is an Asherite, right, these politicians, a lot of them are politicians, these puppets, a lot of them, they stem from other nations, but they're placed in that position. And basically, they take on the identity of that nation they're placed to represent or take hold of. A good example of that is even England. Back when the queen perished, so-called queen, she's supposed to be the queen of English, so you would assume she's English, but she was actually a Teemanite. She was actually so-called German. Right? So how does a so-called German become queen of England when the royal bloodline is simply passed down by lineage? So what is the German come from? Right? That's a good example of that. And now you have in Mexico, they call a new president, which is an Amalekite, but she tries to pretend and put on airs that she's an Issacharite, as she's so-called Mexican, but she's a pure-blooded Amalekite. And it's funny, how does an Amalekite become president of Mexico when I believe Amalekites are only 0.02% of Mexico? So these puppets are installed for the new world order. So I believe Maduro, again, is a puppet that was installed. Slacking for rambling, but we're seeing the wars and rumors of wars that Yahushua talked about. This is all prophecy taking place. What's going on, man? So now you have, he made a deal. They so-called abducted him and his wife, installed a new puppet to acquire the oil. Now you have other nations, or their next door neighbor, so-called Colombia, which is Asher, saying, hey, basically the U.S. is wrong, and so-called President Trump is making threats saying, hey, nigga, Mexico ain't right, it's being led by the cartel, something gotta happen to them. Colombia ain't right, something's gotta happen to them. Trump is making these threats, but the leader of so-called Colombia is basically saying, nigga, I'll wait here for you. Nigga, run it. So, at least that's what they're showing on the stage. That's the show they're putting on for people, right? Again, we talk about this all the time. The first weapon of war that is used is propaganda. This all could be propaganda, and the masses are eating it up. And one of the things the masses are eating up is that they're saying so-called Asherites, or so-called Asherites, so-called Venezuelans, are celebrating the capture of Maduro. That's what they're saying. But they're saying that the people that are celebrating are the ones that aren't in Venezuela. They're actually basically the rich ones that profit and benefit off of, you know, the turmoil that's going on in Venezuela. Because, you know, we spoke about this in the past about how hyperinflation has hit Venezuela, which is going to hit Babylon too, which is going to hit America too, right? But hyperinflation has hit Venezuela mostly because of the sanctions. I believe it was over 1,000 sanctions that the U.S. placed upon Venezuela. So we're seeing all this play out in real time. So they're saying that. So the people that have benefited from those sanctions, from those violations, because of hyperinflation, if you're a business owner, you're going to charge more as well too. So the people that are celebrating the capture and arrest, so-called arrest of Maduro, are probably the ones that benefited off the collapse and the turmoil that's going on in Venezuela. But they're saying the ones that are celebrating aren't the ones that are actually living in there, but the people of Venezuela in there are basically saying, hey, they're basically saying they got invaded. So they're not too happy about what's going on. So again, so we're getting propaganda on both sides. I haven't seen a video of the people in the streets basically celebrating and chanting, but it was a video from 2024 about the, I believe it was the World Cup, and they were basically celebrating a World Cup victory or something like that. But they used that video and then re-uploaded it and said they're celebrating over the capture and arrest of Maduro. So, but This is why, this scripture is so important. Important. Because we understand what's going on for the most part. We're not easily deceived and easily decepted, man. Second Corinthians 2 and verse 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. We know the plans, the tools, the tricks, the deception Esau and Satan tries to use, to make us think a certain way. We understand what propaganda is. I remember back in the world, when I was back in the world, I'm glad his daughters visiting the house. His daughters are from Panama, or born and raised in Panama. And I remember I was just standing in the kitchen and they were just chatting. This was when I was back in the world. But CNN was playing in the background while they were talking. And they were looking at the commercials, and they barely spoke English. Or they spoke rough English. So this was actually interesting to see. The commercials were playing, and they watched like maybe like 3 or 4 commercials. And one of the sisters said, "Oh my God, so much propaganda." She said that, so when you're on the outside looking in, you're not easily deceived. You're not easily fooled. And you can easily see the propaganda, right? She was like, and I was shocked that she even knew the word propaganda in English, right? She was like, "Oh my God, so much propaganda," and I was like, "What?" In my head, I'm like, "What the fuck?" But now, again, I'm on the outside looking in. I was in the world, so I was easily deceived too. I was a fool when I was in the world. Why do y'all watch me for waking me up? I remember, even back in what was that, 2012? I remember fucking getting caught up in the hype. Maybe it was 2008. I remember getting caught up in the hype about Obama and shit. Oh, first black president, yada yada yada. We gotta vote. That nigga wasn't even a so-called black, right? You never seen Obama declare or call himself African American or call himself so-called black, so-called African American. Right? He knew what he was. He knew who he is. Right? But the media, the propaganda, try to picture him or paint him as black president, yada yada yada, thinking life was niggas gonna get out of captivity. That shit was a scam, man. Well, that same propaganda is going on, man. All right, so now, and another thing, and now Esau showed their hand. Not showed their hand. We always knew what Esau is capable of, but now he did it on a large scale. He did it in a major city, a worldwide major city, which is Caracas, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, in Venezuela. Right, the operation they performed, they didn't just barge in and rush in the man's house and take him out. They shut off all the lights. They cut the electricity in that area. So what did the Lord say he was going to do to Babylon? Let me just get it. Babylon being America, man. So when you see in the scriptures Babylon, not only is it talking about ancient Babylon, but it's also basically not a metaphor per se, but it is actually talking about modern day Babylon, which is America. America is modern day Egypt, modern day Babylon, modern day Assyria, modern day Nineveh, modern day Sodom and Gomorrah. It's all in one, man. This place is supremely wicked, man. All right, this is the most wicked kingdom to ever exist. Right? So when you read stories and hear stories in the scriptures about all these ancient kingdoms and the witchcraft they were committing, or the sodomy that was going on, or the idolatry that was going on, Babylon or America has all of it. Has all of it, man. If there wasn't a fear of repercussion, a fear of punishment, such as going to jail or getting looked down, outcast from society, people will be getting raped 24/7, man. People already get raped in this place. It'll be a mayhem, right? It'll be really men raping everything, man. It wouldn't be just women getting raped. It'll be men raping men, just like in ancient Sodom and Gomorrah, man. When the people of Sodom and Gomorrah seen the angels visiting Lot, they wanted to grape them. Even the children wanted to partake in that grape, man. And this is where we're in, man. Because you hear stories. I seen a story recently where a young girl got raped, but one of her attackers was 9 years old, man. She got attacked by multiple people, but one of her attackers was I believe it was 9 years old, or she was 9, and everybody that partook in her assault was 13 and under, if I'm not mistaken. I forgot how that story went, but that was recent, right? Of course, it's not going to be mainstream media because it was an Israelite woman that was the victim. Meaning that Jake's persecution, Jake's troubles, ain't gonna make nationwide news. Let's say if Esau got kidnapped or Esau got abducted, you know, what did they used to do? They used to put them all over milk cartons, all over the news, all this and that and other. You gotta think, you don't see all of that on the news 24/7. And you understand that in Babylon, over 400,000 children go missing every year. But it's not constantly on the news. It's not constantly reported. But during the pandemic, they had a fucking ticker on the news that was running 24/7. Oh, this many people are now infected, or this many people are given the ghost, and that show was running 24/7. But if people had that, but they don't have that for the children because, hey, they know what they're doing, man. They know who they're protecting at the end of the day, right? But all this is prophesied to happen. It's locked in. Let me, I might have to. Oh yeah, that's better. All right, so there's light out here. Nonetheless, let me read the scripture. Second Ezra 15, starting at verse 5. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. Right? All this is going to happen, you know, to Babylon as well. Right? We see it happen in other nations, but it's going to hit Babylon. Of course, it's going to be across the four corners of the earth, but Babylon's going to get it the worst. Why? Because the majority of Jake is in Babylon, and the majority of Esau is in Babylon too. So you have 2/3 of our people that have to see Judgment Day punishment, and you got the wicked, so Edom, and these are the nations that have to see Judgment Day and punishment. Right? So Babylon is going to be really the epicenter of Jacob's trouble. Verse 6, for wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. There really is a meter, basically, of how much shit the Lord's going to take, right? And we're almost at the top, man. We're almost at the peak. And the Lord's going to, hey, fuck it, that's it. Shut it down, man. And we're going to burn it, we're going to blow the shit up, we're going to burn it up. And we're going to start over. We're almost at the peak. We're almost at the end, man. The Wadi Al Bashim Al Shah, because this shit is unbearable, man. Captivity is unbearable. You can't settle in your leads in this place. There's nothing. Really, the majority of our people are settled in their leads, but I really can't imagine how. Like, how are you settled seeing the destruction of your people? How are you settled seeing your people in captivity? How are you settled being enslaved? How are you settled with being in captivity? How are you settled with families being broken apart? How are you settled with the abuse of our people? How are you comfortable in a place like this? How are you settled in a place where sodomy is not only celebrated but legalized? How are you settled, man? And that's the times that we're in. 2/3 of our people are settled in their league. Right? But this place truly is unbearable, man. Verse 7, therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. All right, our people are settled in the leagues, and they not only take pleasure in committing wickedness, but they celebrate it, man. The Sodomite Pride Month, man. That's the most. But really, that truly is the most vile thing. And sodomy is an abomination, and pride is an abomination. Church says our pride is men and the Most High, man. Why is earth and ashes proud? What are you to be proud about in the first place? Are you taking pride in abomination? You taking pride in abominations, man? That shit is vile, man. And the worst kind of abomination, the worst, in my opinion, a sodomite is fucking vile. Worse than a swine eater, worse than I'll put a sodomite worse than an adulterer, man. Right? Because even though adultery is an abomination as well too, and adulterers are worthy of death. Speaking to myself first and foremost, because I committed adultery in the past. It's nothing to celebrate, nothing to be proud about. It's vile, but we serve a power not only of judgment, not only of wrath, but of mercy, man, of great mercy. Because the Lord is capable and will execute great wrath, but He also is going to have great mercy as well too, man. The power we serve is completely balanced, right? Continuing on, verse 8. Well, let me start over. 2 Ezra 15:8. Or hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous judge slacking. The innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. And therefore, saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them, and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Even though the scripture talks about how no man perishes innocently, but at the same time, the shit that Esau does, or Esau sets and creates laws and say this person is deemed innocent and this person is deemed guilty, but they continually harass and abuse the ones that they label innocent, right? Even though Esau is the sword of the Lord, so if Esau sheds blood, really the Lord gave him the green light to do so, but according to their own laws, they can't be hypocrites about it. So they shed blood of what they deem innocent all the time. The Lord's going to avenge all of that too. Verse 10, behold, my people is led. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. Again, modern day Egypt, modern day Egypt as Babylon is America. So the Lord is not talking about ancient Egypt, which the scripture is going to prove. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Yes, the Lord has smitten or smote ancient Egypt with plagues as before, like Scripture said. He did it before, and he's going to do it again. So it's not talking about ancient Egypt. He said he's going to destroy all the land thereof too. Right? Ancient Egypt hasn't been completely destroyed. Right? The Lord destroyed their armies. Lord taking the Pharaoh policy. Lord changed Egypt as a whole, really. We don't talk about pharaohs anymore. Right? They got presidents or prime ministers now. So Lord completely changed that. But he didn't destroy the land of Egypt. People still inhabit that area, that landmass. But this time, this modern day Egypt, he's going to destroy the landmass. And henceforth, or after that, after Judgment Day, no man will ever reside in modern day Egypt, which is America again. Modern day America is going to be destroyed in World War III via thermonuclear missiles and the chariots of Yahweh Shai. Right? And we talked about this last week or the week before, that we're at the precipice of war. We're seeing it, man. World War. And now you also got to consider the proximity from Venezuela to the U.S., from Colombia to the U.S. Right? So they might have a coup. So people might rise up and say, no, fuck that. What y'all doing is wrong. You invaded us. We need retaliation. So we're going to team up with China. We're going to team up with Russia. We're going to team up with North Korea. We're going to team up with Iran. We're going to have their missiles, or we're going to have we're going to allow them to have military bases in our land in order so they can bring their missiles into Venezuela and host them there and fire them off so they get there quicker. Even though they have hypersonic missiles already, I believe hypersonic missiles, they go 7 or 17 times faster than the speed of sound. So you can have a hypersonic missile reach from Russia to New York City in, I believe it was 17 minutes, right? And how do you defend that, man? You can't defend it. You can't defend that. Even if you have a defense for it. Even if you have an anti-missile system installed, which, you really can't have it. If Russia sent a hypersonic missile, or any nation sent a hypersonic missile to Babylon, and Babylon intercepted a missile and it detonated in the atmosphere, a nuclear bomb, a atomic bomb going off in the atmosphere will still cause severe damage to the landmass. That will knock out all the power grid. Right? It'll create an EMP, an electromagnetic pulse, that will disable all electronics. So you won't have GPS systems, you won't have electricity running through, the streets and the neighborhoods and the counties, the cities. You won't have electric cars. We'll be able to charge them and be knocked offline, which a lot of cars on the road now are electric. There aren't some not obscure. Because when Teslas first debuted, it was rare to see a Tesla on the road. But now they're fucking everywhere. Not only Teslas, a lot of these cars are hybrid or electric cars. So those are gonna be knocked offline. Even regular cars, they're gonna be knocked offline because a lot of them have computers in it, and they can't run without their computer. Even older cars that don't have computers, it won't be knocked offline, but how are you gonna refuel it? Gas stations are gonna be knocked off because those are electronic pumps. You might have thousands of gallons of gas underground, but how are you gonna retrieve that gas if the pumps are knocked offline? Water treatment systems are gonna be knocked offline. Water treatment plants. Water won't properly flow through your cities and neighborhoods, because that's been knocked offline. That's run off a computer. You don't have a banking system. Your banking system is mostly electronic, right? You can't swipe your debit card into a machine because it's not going to work, man. You don't have any electricity. And darkness was one of the plagues that the Lord smote ancient Egypt with. So he said he's going to smite modern day Egypt with the same plague. When you continue on, actually no, I'm not continue on, but I could. But so darkness. When you go back to the operation that the U.S. ran in Venezuela, again they knocked the capital off the power grid, so it's complete darkness. They said Maduro was trying to go to a safe room, but they turned off all the lights so he couldn't like feel around in time, to activate the safe room. Even if you could, how do you know that the switch to activate the safe room wasn't on electricity, wasn't on the grid, right? And this is the times we're coming into, man. This is the times that we're in, right? So Babylon just showed that they have the ability to do so. What makes you think that they won't do it again? I remember I doing a lesson on this and how power substations are scattered all throughout Babylon, all over the U.S. There are thousands of them. They transfer electricity from one area to another. But only if terrorists banded together and only took down 9 of them, it'll knock out power for the entire continental U.S. Right? That's how fragile the infrastructure is in this place, man. And Isaiah talked about how fragile the infrastructure in this place is, man. But so if you only took on 9 of them, the power will go out. I believe they estimate, 90% of the population will give up the ghost if the power went out in this place. That's how much this society depends upon electricity, man. Right? But darkness is coming to Babylon. This is a prophecy, right? Hey, we're in a time of war, man. This is why the Lord says to gird up your loins. You really can't be scary. Because when you come into this truth, you learn and you understand that when your eyes are awakened, you understand that everything around you is wicked, everything you've been taught is a lie, but also that everything you're about to go through trials and tribulations, right? It's not gonna be an easy walk. It's not an easy path to the kingdom, man. The book of Nahum, chapter 3 and verse 1. Woe to the bloody city. It is full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not. Right? The prey departeth not. Jake, where the prey in this place, man? Bloody city is talking about, when you go into the scriptures, it's actually talking about ancient Nineveh, but it can be applied to modern day Babylon. Woe to the bloody city, man. The noise of a whip and the noise of the rattling of the wheels and the prancing of horses and the jumping of chariots. The horseman lifted up both bright sword and glittering spear. There is a multitude of slain and a great number of carcasses, and there is none end of their corpses, and they stumble upon their corpses. Hey, massive death is coming to Babylon too, man. Not only just from the missiles, man, because again, 2/3 of our people are going to feel the sword, right? So that's already, Jake is already innumerable. We're already counted as the sands of the sea, right? So 2/3 is a mass amount of people, and that's just for Jake, let alone these other nations, these other nationalities that are going to give up the ghost too. Verse 4, Nahum 3 and 4. Because of the multitude of whoredoms, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, Babylon, America. This place is known as a harlot, man. the mistress of witchcrafts that selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcrafts. Hey, just like the so-called leader or so-called president of Venezuela, Maduro, he probably sold out his own nation, right? Yeah, Babylon probably gave him an offer, and he couldn't resist, man. If he is an Asherite, man. Because if he doesn't descend, from Israel, from Jacob, from Israel, from Asher, or even any of the 12 tribes, he could be basically a Gentile posing Asherite in that position, just like they did with Barack Obama, man. Just because the nigga has a tan skin and speaks Spanish doesn't necessarily mean he's a so-called Hispanic. It could be anything if you learn the language, man. Just like we see what's going on in Mexico today, right? Verse 5, behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame. Right? This is what we're seeing now, man. Esau is being exposed. Esau has been exposed, man. We're seeing Amalek being exposed, and seeing how they have their so-called tentacles and everything, man. Again, we mentioned education, finance, healthcare, government. Amalek has their hands in everything, man. In the mightiest nation on earth. So they could be behind, what's going on in Venezuela too, because the leader has been vocal about what so-called Benjamin Netanyahu has been doing, and the plight of the so-called Palestinians, right? And how so they probably made the call to, hey, take this nigga out, or give this nigga a deal to get your hands on out of oil, man. Again, scripture says in prophecy that how ashes spreads to be dipped in oil. So how does it make sense that the nation, the most oil reserves on earth, is dealing with hyperinflation? You go to a nation like Saudi Arabia, the people that aren't in the hood are living lavishly now. I remember back in the day they had a song called Arab Money. Why? Because they're known, Elam is known for having extravagant wealth. I remember there was one Elamite that had clothes or an outfit or a shirt that was made out of pure 24 karat gold. Not subtle, but they flex like that. You see pictures of Saudi Arabia and how it's damn near futuristic city. As long as you're not looking at in the hood as part of the hood part of that nation, right? Even Babylon is really the glory of the kingdoms, but there are hoods scattered all throughout this place, man. There are places that aren't too comely, right? But it doesn't matter, because the way that Babylon's gotten their riches is through deceit. It's really through the persecution of Jake. But with every nation that has Jake captive, even though Jake has been scattered to the four corners of the earth, the bulk and the majority of Jake is in Babylon, is in modern day America. And every nation that have had, basically Jake in captivity, has been the head nation on the four corners of the earth. Again, Egypt, Babylon, Syria, right? Rome. All these nations that have had Jake in captivity have been the top dog on the earth. But this is it, man. The Lord's gonna get us out of this place, man. All right. Again, we're seeing the wars and rumors of wars going on live with 4K, man. I'm not gonna stay out here too much longer. My Lord willing, the Lord dictates what He wants. This ain't my show. This is the Lord's show. At the end of the day. I'm gonna read this real quick. The book of Psalms. The book of Psalms, chapter 137, and verse 1. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. We wept when we remembered Zion. All right, because they understood that they were in captivity, man. And they're remembering the homeland, the promised land. And it brings tears to your eyes. When you can remember a time that you were free compared to the time that you're not. And in my opinion, that's the worst. When you have tasted freedom, but then you're brought back into captivity, or you're brought into captivity. See, when you're born in captivity, captivity is all you know, so you kind of get used to it, which is why we see across our generation, all of our people have been born into captivity, so they haven't seen, the opposite side. So they think, oh, this is just the way life is. Oh, instead of looking for an escape. They don't understand that they were born in captivity. They don't understand that they're a slave, right? Hey, the Wadi Al-Bashim Al-Shai for the eyesight, right? For us to be able to see. Verse 2, we hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof, for there they that carried us away captive required of us a song, and they that wasted us required us of mirth, saying, sing us one of the songs of Zion. Right? Hey, just like now. This is happening now. Right? You see Jake in captivity. When Jake is upset, or Jake don't feel like, or Jake is down and out, these other nations, starting with Esau, Edom, this local white man, they don't like to see Jake upset. Hey, I've been told before, a lot of our people have been told before, oh, you should smile more often, and shit like that. Or they like you when you tap dancing, you're a coon. This is what they do. They take our people, when they take the sellers of our people, put them in the main stage and make them coon out, right? To influence our people to be coons, to tap dance for these other nations, man. To be obedient servants, obedient slaves, not servants, obedient slaves, right? Which we do have to be, because we are in the captivity because we fucked up, right? But we gotta be obedient to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua first and foremost, right? This is why they like portraying our men as ignorant, as hypersexual, as violent, as drug peddlers, as drug users. And they like portraying our women as promiscuous, as harlots, as so-called independent, saying that they don't need a man, right? This is what they like doing, because they promote that image. And when you grow up from a youth and all you see is that image, you think that's the way you should be, or that's how you should be. But it's all propaganda, man. Again, the first weapon of war that goes up is propaganda. And we are at war. I wanted to name this lesson when I was meditating on it. There's a war going on outside that no man is safe from. That was part of a song back in the day. There's a war going on outside that no man is safe from. It's not like you could say, you know what, I'm not taking part of this war. No, nigga, you're in a fucking war, man. This is war. They are poisoning our food. They're attacking our children, whether physically or spiritually. They're attacking us physically and spiritually as well, right? They're throwing us in cages. they're persecuting us. They're destroying our household. This is a war, man. And you just can't say, I'm not choosing a side. You just can't be settled in your leaves. You have to choose a side. And if you're not on the side of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, you're against Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And all the enemies of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai are going to feel his wrath, man. So it's you suffer now or you suffer later, man. And we're suffering now, man. We're suffering now for the sake of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Right? But all people are settled in their leaves. They're content. They're happy in this place, man. But this place isn't going to continue too much longer. So your kingdom that you're content in, your kingdom that you're a captive in, you're serving captivity in, is coming to an end. But the kingdom that's being ushered in, the kingdom that we're fighting for, serving Yahweh Bashem Yahushai for, is an eternal kingdom. So we don't have to worry about an expiration date. We don't have to worry about a war. We don't have to worry about famine. We don't have to worry about persecution. We don't have to worry about death and destruction amongst our people. All right? So, hey, choose a side, because now's the time to choose, man. And if you don't choose a side, that still means you're against Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Psalms 137 and verse 4, how shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? Truly, how can you have true happiness here, man? You might have moments where you might feel glad or joyous, but you can't have true happiness in captivity, man. There's really nothing to celebrate. Even something as simple as a nice meal in Babylon, in captivity, you really can't celebrate it. You really can't be happy about it, because, yeah, you could be content, but you really can't be happy about it because all our bread is defiled, man. And if you're happy, there's other things to mourn about, man. The destruction of your people, right? You know, and so on and so forth, man. But they want you to be happy. They want you to portray that you're happy, because they don't want to see Jake roused up, man. Verse 5, Psalms 137 and 5. If I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her cunning. If I do not remember thee, let the tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. Let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy. Right? But this is 2/3 of our people. 2/3 of our people prefer captivity over Zion, man. Prefer captivity over the kingdom. Right? And that's why they gotta go, man. Because there's no correcting it. The Lord has left them permanently blind until they get their new bodies, man. Verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. It was Edomites that burnt down the temple, man. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed. Right? O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed. I believe it's Ezekiel 12 that talks about, as the mother, so is the daughter. So you had ancient Babylon, that was an amalgamation of a bunch of nationalities and a bunch of nations, a bunch of idols, right? And a bunch of witchcraft. Now you got modern day Babylon that's composed of the same thing, right? So ancient Babylon, that landmass was never destroyed. People still inhabit ancient Babylon today, which is the Iran area, right? So ancient Babylon was never physically destroyed. But modern day Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, is going to be destroyed, as we mentioned before, man. Psalms 137 and 8. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. Right. Like, we have to drink of the cup of captivity. Esau, Edom, these other nations are going to drink of the cup of captivity as well, too, man. All right? Hey, we served our time. So once you have time served, you're free. Just like Esau does in his jailing system, or time served, all right, you're free to go. The Lord's doing the same thing to us, man. The Lord's put us in captivity for a certain amount of time, until He releases us. And that release is going to be glorious, just like it was in ancient Egypt, right? When we were in captivity under Pharaoh, man. And how glorious that release was. Which is why we still celebrate the Pesach or the Passover till this day, man. Because we were celebrating and glorifying the Lord, delivering us from captivity. O daughter, Psalms 137 and 8, O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. Hey, Nick, war, man. It's gonna be a time of war, man. The scripture also says, let me get that real quick. I'm gonna close out soon. Spirit. I grabbed a set of pages and turned and opened the scriptures and went right to the precept I was looking for. Psalms 58 and verse 10, the righteous shall rejoice when he seeth the vengeance. Again, this is how we read in Psalm 137. Happy shall he be. The righteous shall rejoice when he seeth the vengeance. He shall wash his feet in the blood of the wicked. It's going to be a joyous time, man. Getting our lick back, man. So that a man shall say, verily there is a reward for the righteous. Verily he is the power that judges in the earth. Truly, man. Truly there's going to be a reward for the righteous, man. And that's what we're fighting for, man. We're continuing to fight for the reward, man. And it's not only just for ourselves. Not only is it to glorify Yahweh Shai, it also is for the 2/3 of our people as well, too, man. They just have to go through judgment before they receive their salvation, which is going to be born through the loins of the elect. Lord willing, we're part of that number, right? All right, but I'm going to wrap it up with that. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying to the flock of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. Again, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai B'Shem Kavadah. I want to give double honor to the elders and the apostles of Grand Milson that rule well. And I want to say peace and salutations to the elect of the nation of Israel. Until next time, I say shalom and a Bible ball.